C. Now, to respond to the case coming from negative and fighting first negative. Hi, hello, first negative, are you there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, am I audible?
Yes, you are. You may start anytime you are ready.
Okay. So my preference is she or her, and if you want to have a POI, please chat on my chat box because I don't want anyone during my speech. And okay, so I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. So before that, before I jump to my argument, I want to clarify first about what is actually the DLC and why we shouldn't need to ban it. So even government side of the house didn't want to buy DLC because they think it is maybe unnecessary for them to buy a separating feature on game. So they want to buy a one whole package, which already packaged by the game developer. But here we want to increase the player satisfaction. So our goals is want to increase the player satisfaction by having a good time, by having a good game experience, and also freedom to show their preferences on the game. This we want them to still buy the DLC. So also we want the gamers to have the fullest experience, but at the same time they're free to customize it. Therefore, banning this DLC will never fulfill that. So before that, I want to rebut the open government. So there are two main reasons. The first one is video games are being released by entertainment companies, and it is justified for them to gain profit. And the government set up the house claim that it is for scam for the form of scamming. No, it's not, because you got the feedbacks for it. You got the entertainment that you are seeking after you're playing, and you consent to it. Second one is video games development needs money, so their justification cannot be approved at all. Moving on under the argument exclusivity is important. They state that gaming community enthusiasm is big. They want to take out their hobby, seek friends, and etc. And I think this argument is backlashing the idea of enthusiasm in itself. Because if it is true that the enthusiasm of the gaming community is really big, then the gaming community itself has a bigger incentive to sacrifice their money, to pay more money, to gain more entertainment that they can gain, rather than they only play the game that have been that the developers have given it to them. So their argument is not exclusive at all. So before I jump to my argument, I will justify first why purchasing the DLC is much more needed rather than you only purchase the best game. So the first one is the moment the players have bought the DLC, they will be more satisfied. The second one is with the DLC, all the players can show their uniqueness based on their preferences. And the third one is if the players want only buy the best game, the game will be boring because they don't have any challenging thing that they need to do right on the game. And the third one is in the status quo right now, the game studio already informed me that there will be DLC. Either you have to purchase it first or free. So everyone will come to my argument. I'm going to talk about the issue in my substantive, why DLC is beneficial for our vulnerable actors. So the essence of you playing video games is to have fun, right? To relax yourself after a stressful day. And also, we know in status quo right now, people play games to make themselves feel satisfied. And also, they can show themselves and do whatever they want there is. And also, they can gain friend and etc. In status quo right now, the moment you want to play a video game beside the device, you also have to purchase or download the game first. Developers right now provide the game society ways to improve the gaming experience. Why gaming experience is important? The first one is we need to the players need the emotional satisfaction, right? Second one is satisfaction fulfillment after purchasing the game. So the third one is increasing the player creativity. So on our side of the house, the vulnerable actor is the gamers can choose the preference for them to customize their own game experience by choosing the DLC that they wanted to include in their best game. Why is emotional dissatisfaction important on our side of the house? And you look in the info slide, the players are actually already buying the best game, right? So why would they only buy the best game, which literally only have only a best, only major or the core, right? They don't have any additional thing that will make them feel satisfied at the end of the day. They don't feel the sense of playing the game. And yeah, why would we only buy the best game if you don't have any additional thing or any other features? The next one, after buying the DLC will fulfill the player's enthusiasm. So the government side of the house said otherwise, right? If the players won't feel satisfied enough because they cannot buy other additional thing. But when we are talking about the game that already needs to buy this best game, so it means they already know that there is an additional features that they need to buy because of that, right? They have commented, and also the game developer has informed it before they're playing the game. So some games, for example, the Sims 4, it is purchased game, right? And people keep buying the game, and also it is the DLC, right? Why? Because it increased the satisfaction and also enthusiasm for the players, and also after they can create their own preference and will increase their creativity, which the government side of the house don't have it because they only have the best game instead, right? And if the government side of the house talking about it, people want to play game because they want to increase and having more connection. So in our side of the house also we have that thing. So their argument is not exclusive at all, and that's why I'm so proud to oppose. Thank you.
I thank the first negative for that fine remarks. By the way, guys, I need to change my connection. Please do wait for a moment. I'll be back. Hold on. Wait. Okay, just to check, am I clearly audible for you guys? Thank you so much. Now, second affirmative, can you, just to check my connection, can you read the motion again for the second affirmative?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, can you try reading the motion just to check my connection, please?
This house would ban the sale of DLC in gaming industry.
Perfection. You may start anytime you are ready. Second F. Hello, second affirmative. You may start anytime you are ready.
Okay.
Benar. Argumen-argumennya cuma boring sama kayak challenging aja. Okay.
I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, the only case where the negative case will run is if this game that has DLC is the only game that exists, because their arguments is about how this game will be boring without these new updates, and also how it will decrease the quality of the updates. But panels, there are other games, and if the inexistence of DLC really impacts the game that badly, then customers can just move on to another game, because in status quo there are also other games that do not have DLC and that already have good good quality and just a better that there are other options that exist. So I will start by rebutting the negative case claim about how this game will be boring. Panels, first of all, my first speaker already told you about how in gaming most people are looking for a community, because it is a sense of enjoyment when you feel a sense of belonging within your community and you can talk about the things that interest you most within gaming. And this cannot happen if you have DLC, because then if you're searching for a community, you'll have to search for The Sims 4, but not only that, you have to search for those who already purchased the same extensions as you, and therefore the community will be split. and this the inclusivity will be decreased from this, because then it will be so hard for you to search for friends who have the same experience, even though many people already play the same games. And we think that that is actually what will hamper the enjoyment of people. And when the negative side argues that it will be boring because then it won't be customizable. Well, first of all, the customizability in your argument is only available for those who are willing to purchase more, to pay for more in order to get these extensions, right? And secondly, these extensions will still happen in our case because it will, but as the mechanism as stated, it will be served as updates, which can or cannot, which may be downloaded by the players so that they can, so that these new and fresh game mechanisms can still happen. And let me break down the analysis on why this will still happen, even if the companies won't have further income from releasing the updates. So first of all, of course, the company will want to maintain the players and also to get new players, right? And this, and so they will, of course, have the incentive to boost the quality of the base game. And in this case, when they get feedback from the customers about how this game can maybe be better, about some opinions and some mechanics that the players have given to the game, then these feedbacks will be integrated into the main base game so that everyone will be able to play it. Because panels, the main thing that, the main problem that, the main reason we say we need to ban the sale of the DLC in gaming industry is first because it will heighten the difference in classes, even in the gaming community where you need to search for enjoyment and satisfaction. But if you have DLC, then it would be such a different experience for those who only purchase base game than those who purchase the entire extension, so that it will be so different. And when you're just searching for escapism, when you're just tired from work, you just want to log in and play, you don't want to think about how think about how different your experience is from other players, because you can't afford to pay for these DLCs. But you can just focus on playing the game, and when you meet new friends in that game, then you can just play together without having to worry about you can't purchase the next expansion, so that you won't be able to look at the new stories, the new game mechanics. That won't be a thing, so that there won't be such a difference in classism in this gaming community, which we think is a problem. And secondly is the main problem is about the capitalization on feedback. Like these players who have purchased your base game have given you feedback for free to these companies, and when these companies try to integrate that feedback into new game mechanics, they lock it under another subscription or another purchase. And we think that is so problematic because these customers who gave these feedback are those who purchase base game, right? And it is not sure that these customers will be able to buy these extensions that actually came from their feedback. So we think that is so problematic. And secondly, I would like to talk about how, when negative side said that DLC makes the game more challenging, but we don't think that's the case. We think without DLC, this is still so possible, because as I've already mentioned about the likelihood of new players coming in and the incentive for these companies to make their games better in order to gain even more new players, we think it is so possible to create new and interesting mechanisms with it without having to create DLC. Maybe the negative tries to argue that we want something to change, something so that you aren't bored of the game. First of all, again, this isn't the only game that exists. So if you really need this such a different and new mechanism, you can just download a new game, and therefore you can have that community for you without having to fracture the community within this game. And secondly, about their games have many mechanics, right? They have levels, they have achievements, and when you pass through certain levels, maybe some mechanics will be unlocked to you, or maybe you can unlock, like in The Sims, you have a Dragon Island where you can unlock through certain achievements, and it would change so much about the game. You can still do that without DLC, because there are so many mechanics that the game can integrate to make every level new and fresh, and we think that DLC is not so important. And if the negative tries to argue about how without DLC and by making it accessible to all players, then maybe it would be such a huge memory. It would take up such a huge memory space in your computer when not all players would want to experience all extensions. We think that is not a problem, because we can give the option of these extensions so that players can download them or don't download them if they don't want it, but still provide it for free so that they can experience it if they want. And this way they can experience all the different extensions on all different timelines without having to worry about constantly thinking about the money and how much they spent on it, because they already purchased the base game. And because of that, then when they do want enjoyment, they can just freely experience all the game and all its content without having to worry about money all the time, because that would just deter the enjoyment. So panels, we think the most important thing here is enjoyment, and the stem of that enjoyment is firstly inclusivity, and secondly the chance of escapism, where you don't have to worry about money 24/7. And for that reason, we take the case.
I thank the second affirmative for that far remark. Now to continue the case coming from negative, inviting second negative. Here.
Okay, so check am I audible?
A bit echoing. Can you?
Oh, okay. How about now? Is it?
It's
audible?
better. Yes.
Okay. Wait. My gender pronouns here, him. Starting my summer first. Wait a second. Okay, so I'll start my speech. In 3, 2, and 1. Look, Edu, game is all about preference, right? And accessibility, right? The government side of the house is coming to this debate, telling you they can just, they can just opt out with this whole mechanism by saying that they can just turn DLC into some sort of like a freebies or something like that. And I'll tell you that why it's not going to be happening. And then also, they're also telling you that you can just download a new game, they said. But we can just go to sleep right now. What's the point of debating right now? The moment you're suggesting to play another game, because that's out of the debate. 5 things as to why we can just kick out the government side of the house in this debate. First, their mechanism is quite blunder. They said they're gonna make the DLC for free and yada yada yada, yet they never even tell you what incentivizes the company itself to do so. Second, they always talking about the hype and yada yada yada, but look, it's gonna lead us to some sort of like a protection towards the company itself. So what's in it for the gamers, right? And then third of all, they're telling you about the discourse, yet so many people are okay with the situation in the South Korea right now. So what is the urgency for them to have this DLCs to be free or something like that? Right? Or what is it for them to ban DLC in the first place, right? Fourth of all, they can just they're only talking about the base case scenario only. The moment they're sort of like inclusivity and yada yada yada, but they never even tell you about the worst case scenario that is going to be happening in their case, which is the moment the player itself is just going to be enjoying the game without talking to anybody. And then and the last of all, the last is I kind of like, all their arguments quite inclusive and inclusive in the first place, right? Because all their things that they have said, it's just going to be happening in our side as well. Which is why it is not going to bring some sort of like a significant impact in the first place, right? So therefore, they're just going to be out of this debate. Coming to my rebuttals, there's only two things that I would like to bring in this rebuttals. First one is about the discourse, which is they're saying that it's going to be better in their side. But I can't that's not right at all, because if it's because first the discourse is going to be happening in our side as well. Even it is going to be better in our side because of what? Because first, the gamers itself is going to have some sort of like a relatability with one another because of what? Because now they have the same exact feeling the moment they cannot access some sort of like they cannot afford some sort of like a feature or something like that. So therefore, there is going to be they're just going to be have some sort of like a community within the community. So therefore, it's just going to be better, right? Even if yes, the discourse is going to be better in theirs at the moment, they have the unified game. But I can expect that it's not going to be so significant because of what? Because the discourse is already happening in the first place, right? Coming to my second rebuttal towards they're saying that there's something beside the DLC that can increase the game experience, right? But they don't even give you the example what is it in the first place. So therefore, I kind of like all they're saying is just going to be a mumbo jumbo in the first place. Okay, so coming to my argument, there are two things that I'd like to bring in this debate. First, why is it going to be more entertaining the moment we split the full game into lots of DLC? And then second, why the moment we ban the DLC, it would make the game itself inaccessible in the first place, right? Okay, so coming to my first argument as to why is it going to be more entertaining the moment we split the full game into lots of DLC. Look at you, every single person has a different background, i.e. everybody has their own preference in terms of playing a game. Look, the moment they do not split the full game into so many DLCs, is it going to shove the game itself to their throat? Like they have to enjoy every single details and every single features that is happening in the game itself, right? So therefore, the preference is going to be not happening their side because they're now going to have this some sort of like a blunder in their mindset that okay, so I've got this many features and I've got to try one of each, meaning that they don't even understand how to customize the game itself. They don't even understand how to work this game the moment they are just starting playing because they're just so confused and overwhelmed with the feature itself. They never tell you why is it not going to overwhelm them in the first place, right? So therefore there is lacking in the opening government, right? Okay, so in our side, the moment we have this full game to split up into so many DLC, first, we're going to have some sort of like comfortability, which means that every single player has the ability to just customize whatever they want to be and whatever they want to try in the game in the first place, right? Second, they're going to be able to have the feature that they want to change. The moment they cannot, the moment they have to choose, look, DLC is quite optional, right? The moment they have to choose which one they want to try, it means that they're just going to some sort of like an incentive, there's some sort of like an interest in themselves, right, to try it, meaning that they're going to be so curious and they're going to be challenged in the game itself. So therefore, it's just going to be better in our side. Entertaining is just going to be better in our side. The moment people are quite enthusiastic with the game itself, right? Not when you're forced to play every single detail that is in the game, right? Okay, so comparative in their side, they're just going to be so overwhelmed and so confused about the game itself because they now have to understand about every single details. Look, in the Sims Force, there are 24th DLC. Look, what is going to be happening the moment 24 DLC is going to be happening in one game, and and the player itself has to be able to process every single thing in one sitting, right? It's just going to be so crazy and insane. Okay, so coming to my argument, second argument, why the moment do we ban DLC, it would make the game itself inaccessible. Look, the context side has already told you that DLC in the side score now it's like an optional thing. But the moment we ban the DLC, yet the society, especially gamers, still want the full experience on the game, it's going to force the developer to put every single thing in one place, right? Therefore, the price itself is going to be increasing. Because which is going to cause some sort of like a problem, which is first, people are unable to purchase anymore. Second, people can't access the preference anymore. Third, people cannot even play the main game in the first place, right? How is it likely to be happening? First, the developer is likely to mark up the price of the game, right? Look, there are a lot of new things. There are a lot of new features that is happening in one game, meaning that meaning that your game is now a big batch game. So you have to be able to control some things, and you have to be able to control every single thing, right? So therefore, the moment the developer itself is kind of like putting so many efforts towards the game itself, they will mark up the price. It is unlikely for them to not mark up the price because of what? Because their interest is first to make money, second to develop their game, Third, to make the game itself is quite balanced with the price, right? So therefore, it is super unlikely for the game developer to not mark up the price. Second of all, the customization are unlikely to be happening because of what? Because now every single thing is going to be in one room. It's just going to be there, and every single thing is going to be accessible for everybody, and there's no uniqueness in the players itself, right? Because they now have the capabilities to just enjoy every single thing. And then third of all, there is no longer a main game because of what? Because now the main game itself is already blended in with the extension and so on and so forth, right? So therefore, the moment they cannot afford the price itself, they're not going to be able to play anything from that game. So therefore, accessibility is not going to be happening in their side. Compared to under our side of the house, the main game is still going to be accessible because people because it's still affordable and people can buy it. Second, features are still optional, meaning that they're just going to be able to just download every single thing that is quite struck their interest. Third of all, game price is still going to be accessible because of it, because now the extension is coming is in a different part. Like if you want to play Sims and you want to access the weather changes and yada yada yada, so therefore you have to pay for it, right? So therefore it's just going to not mark up the price in our side. Why accessibility is important, right? So two things. Unprivileged is quite the vulnerable actor in this debate, which is why we want to protect it. So manifestation in our side is that we want our game to be accessible, enjoyable, and customizable. So therefore, I'm very proud to oppose this motion. Thank you.
I thank the second negative for that fire remark. Now to close the substantives of affirmative, inviting third F.
Checking, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, give me a second. I'm setting up my paper. Okay. I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Judge, don't credit every single jargon that they have brought to us. Comfortability, enjoyment, happiness, sense of belonging is exclusively exists under our side of the house. So I'm going to bring two questions under my speech. First, which sides give the best community? Second, which sides impress the best quality to maintain the old gamers and gain new gamers? Okay, first question, which sides give the best community? Okay, let's just see what is the idea coming from the opposition side of the house. They say if at the end of the day there will be the segmentation of directors. Several response into this. A, my previous speakers have proven to you how bad this segmentation is, right? For the example, when you have to enter certain circle, but you have to buy iPhone first or etc. Our main argumentation are the discourse or the discussions are going to be inclusive, right? But you know, under opposition side of the house, what they are trying to argue is simply on how the harm is that they cannot connect one another. Saying that discourse already there in anywhere doesn't even rebut our argumentation, right? Our argumentation still stand even until at the end of the debate. Okay, but what our side have proven to you, right? First, A is about the escapism. We have already framed on how this is very important, right? On how people trying to find his comfort place to play one with another. B is about the inclusivity. On how, let's say, at the end of the day, these gamers will feel every single comfortability because they can relate with its other gamers. They can feel the same experiences and they can feel the, you know, every single new features from the games itself, right? But okay, I'm going to give one addition for this. See on how this is going to reduce the consumerism. But why consumerism is bad, ladies and gentlemen? One important framing. Which player are the most influenced by this motion? Exactly, we say people with middle income, right? People who actually have a UMR salary or etc., right? These people who play game when they are tired, right? So we say under the opposite, under the negative side of the house, what they're trying to do is simply trying to limit the people's happiness, right? But exactly why banning the LC will simply reduce the wait, but what is the impact of this, ladies and gentlemen? Notice on how these people has limited money. For the example, what they are trying to do is they are, let's say, addicted to this certain game. They will just spend their money, waste their salary to simply buying the items, which is really bad, right? Or even if they are rational enough, exactly maybe these people will still leave the game. But we think the likelihood is exactly low, right, ladies and gentlemen? Because just notice on the status quo on how these people has already been comfort in the previous game, right? But okay, why banning the LC will simply reduce the consumerism of this middle income gamers, ladies and gentlemen? Because exactly without this DLC, we simply try to abolish their access to simply keeping buying the very expensive items that is actually might be harm for them, right? And exactly we say this is very important for their sustainability itself. So with these 3 points, by escapism from the gamer, inclusivity, and about reducing consumerism, our side is exactly win these classes. But moving on to the next classes, which sides impress the best quality to maintain the gamers? Let us see the idea from the negative side of the house. They say if from the incentive of companies itself about okay, so we say breakdown companies create an incentive for games because of what? Because exactly there's the competition with another game industry, right? For the example, the Garena or Muntun or etc., which is really high on the current status quo, right? Or B, about how the gamers' enthusiasm increasing the popularity of certain games itself, and C, the unneeded hype coming from the players. So we say these kind of things will happen and bigger on affirmative side of the house, because the moment when we ban the LC, people will start to play and download all those games. These same sports, Final Fantasy 1 until 14 for the examples. All game industry will compete one another. Incentive comes because the game industry don't want their game lose their own popularity with the game coming from another game industry, right? Okay, but second ideas from them is exactly about how they say if the games will be boring and the BLC is challenging and create more happiness for this kind of adrenaline challenging. So at the end of the day, people will be enthusiastic. But my previous speaker have already proved to you, right, on how currently in the status quo, the amount from the DLC or those expensive items are too much, right? How it can be challenging when you have bought one item, but on the next update there will be another two new items that you have to buy. At the end of the day, under their side of the house, the ideas of boring will be exist on their side, right? But under our side, we have proven to you on how the all gamers and new gamers will still be comfort with our games, right? Okay. Wait. Why so? Because exactly there are going to be there we give more incentive for people to give more feedbacks, right? And that's exactly going to be accepted or going to be recognized by the games company itself. And we say at the end of the day, um, this is the things that will be the tipping point for the company games itself to simply try to acknowledge this kind of facts that they have to simply make the all gamers sustain or make the all gamers simply um, stay to play in these certain games, right? So under our side, this we give the best quality to maintain the gamers. So that's why we are so proud to propose. Thank you.
I thank the third affirmative for that fun remark. Now to close the substantive speeches of negative and the debate, inviting third negative.
Check, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay, what is needed under this debate? Firstly, which team can prove the justification whether we can ban or not the DLC system or to pay more for more experience? Second, which team can give more emotional satisfaction benefits and etc. towards the vulnerable actors, which is gamers of the gaming community? The third one, which team can give to you more accessibility towards the vulnerable actors, which is the gamers of the gaming community? What is lacking in the affirmative side of the house? Firstly, they never engage to our accessibility problem, which is the pricing that will be going later the moment we ban or solve into one big batch of video games. And then the second, they never give you any exclusive arguments. Affirmative side of the house have not bring their best case scenario. They only played in terms of the fairness of gaming experience the moment they include all the content into one video game. In terms of fairness of gaming experience, I think it also happened in our side of the house because we already provide to you the best video game experience and it is already answering enough the fairness experience problems. Also, they only played in their best case scenario. They never tell you the impacts of the worst case scenario that may happen the moment they want to change the status quo by banning the or abolishing the DLC system that already happening in gaming world. Lastly, they want update in video games that later be extension under their proposal and whatsoever. I think this is really useless and backfiring their case because you need to know that gaming development needs money, the research and innovation needs money, etc. Affirmative never guarantee to you that the update or the extension will be paid or not because if it needs money, right? So the moment the update needs money, then what is their exclusivity compared to ourselves, the house? Okay, so moving on towards the classes in this debate. Firstly, in terms of gaming experience, under our side of the house, the moment we accept the negative proposal, the uniqueness, the complexity that you can gain for your game by choosing the DLCs that is comfortable for them, or what are things that can fulfill their satisfaction compared to their side of the house. The moment you abolish DLC and just make the content of the game into one big batch of game, the gaming experience will be monotone. You don't have the creativity and comfort for your own game. Moving on, their third speaker telling you that their argument is exclusive, yet their first speaker told you that is happening in our side of the house. So I think you can see their rationality over here. And then the secondly, we've already told to you that in our side of the house we're gonna have preference, which is an exclusive in our side of the house. Why preference is important here, Ejo? Firstly, trauma. Second, interest, and the third one is background. And then they're telling you that it's gonna be boarding under our side of the house. But I think that's not true at all because we're not the one who put everything in one place right now. Therefore, in the long term period, the moment there is a constant update, boarding is gonna be happening in their side of the house. So moving on towards the second classes, in terms of game price that leads to accessibility. So they stated that they want to protect the people who are in UMR or whatsoever, but I think I have stated in my opening that they did not think that that the research and innovation needs money and so on and so forth. And then the moment so Ejo, it is true that on one side of the house proposal, we have to protect gamers, to give gamers the most experience possible. But we cannot forget that the one who's releasing the video games are entertainment companies, and it's their natural instinct to gain as much profit as much as possible. On the other side of the house, the DLC is being offered towards the gamers, and it is mandatory for the gamers to either pay or download for it after the gamers purchase the base game. So compared to their side of the house, their proposal is likely to be some kind of all-included content video games, right? Then the content that is previously should be a DLCs going to be one consecutive video games. The more contents that are provided in the base video games, then the more expensive it is going to be. Their proposal does not protect the less privileged actors that want to experience playing video games. On the other side of the house, the less privileged can just purchase the base game without DLC just to experience the story mode in the base game. It is still okay and cheaper compared to their side of the house. Two scenarios. So unprivileged, they under their side of the house, they cannot access the game, and then the privileged one, they cannot access their preference anymore under their side of the house. The third classes, control and, in terms of control and protection. The scenario of releasing games and DLC is likely to happen this way. Games are being released, then followed by DLC. The game developer offers can be chosen based on what is secure for them and not triggering gamers' trauma, and etc. Yes, in status quo, there is check and balance, surveys for their customers, etc. Sorry. But the one who have the absolute power to release video games content is the developer themselves. Under outside of the house, player can just choose what they want to include in their base game based on their consent and rationality. Compared to their side of the house, the moment video games are being pushed into one big batch or all included or purchased video games, player can choose to avoid the content in video games that may trigger their trauma. And then our scenario is the moment the gamers cannot afford the extension, it's going to be okay because at least our gamers can access the main game. Unlike their side of the house, they cannot even access the main game because there's no longer a main game in their side of the house. Very proud to oppose this motion. Thank you.
I thank the third negative for that firm remark. Now to start the reply speeches of the debate, inviting negative reply.
I think it's enough. So I identify the refresh utama before the
Okay. Check. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, amazing. I'm going to start my reply in 3, 2, 1. Look at you. In the opposition side, we have already told you about why is it going to be entertaining in our side, why is it going to be so accessible in our side, and why is it going to be so secure, and why is it going to be so relatable for every single gamers that is existing in the status quo right now, right? Compared to the government side of the house, they never even engaged to our accessibility side, accessibility, and also they never even engaged to our to their worst scenario, which is the moment they don't even need the discussion that is happening that is in their side, right? And also they never even tell you about why is it going to be so significant for them to have those kind of things the moment we ban the moment they ban the moment they ban the DLC in the first place, right? So therefore, I kind of feel like, you know, all the things that is happening in their side, so it's not going to be accessible and it's not going to be achieved in the first place, right? Because accessibility is the base in this debate. Because of what? Because why does it so matter about their entertainment, about their happiness and yada yada yada, the moment they cannot even afford the game itself in the first place, right? So therefore, I kind of like, you know, their arguments quite is going to be debunked in the debate because they don't even understand how to opt out with the accessibility in the first place. Moving on, we've already told you about the worst case scenario that's that is going to be happening in our side, which is the moment the gamers itself couldn't afford the main game couldn't afford the extension to fulfill their happiness and entertainment, right? At least in our side, we've already told you that the gamers itself can still enjoy the main game. Unlike in their side, they couldn't even enjoy the main game in the first place, right? So therefore, it's going to be unlikely for them to feel happiness in the first place. Coming to my coming to the comparison and classes, I kind of feel like, we've already won all the classes. We've already engaged to their statement talking about discourse. We've already engaged to their arguments talking about happiness, entertainment, and yada yada yada. So therefore, I kind of feel like, we've already so active in this debate, and we've already engaged to all of their cases in the first place, and we've already proven to you that in our side it's going to be better. Why the discussion is going to be better? Why the discourse itself is going to be so okay in our side, and why the discussion that is going to be happening in their side is not going to be so significantly improved, right? So therefore, I'm very proud to close this debate from the opposition side. Thank you.
I thank the negative reply. Now inviting the affirmative reply.
All right, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, the main problem that we identified and why we need to ban this DLC in the gaming industry is because it can heighten the difference in classes in the gaming community, and we think that is such a problem. And secondly, because it capitalizes on the feedback that these players can have given for free. So if we can prove that we can solve these by banning DLC without hampering the enjoyment of players, and this enjoyment includes the community, the escapism, the accessibility, and customizability of the playing, then we have won this debate if we can prove to you those two things. So let's come into the first part of the enjoyment is about community and why our side takes the case. So let's see what the negative has brought to this. They say that the community will be unified because there will be the same feeling when you can't when the new extension drops and all the players can't access it together. There will be a sense of unity in that. But panels, this is very much not the case, because if a new extension drops, then many of the richer people will be able to buy this extension, and therefore the discourse will be flooded by those who have experienced the new extension, and therefore those who cannot, who have certain limitations to their budget, will feel excluded in this community. But in our case, then every player can discuss all mechanisms together. They can discuss all updates together, and it will be more inclusive to everyone. So that's why we take the case. Secondly, is about the accessibility. When the negative side argues that the company will mark up the price so high that so many people won't be able to buy this game. But in the first place, these games are paid for. Most of these games are paid for, right? And therefore, there's already a certain market who will be able to pay for these games and who won't be able to pay for these games. But in our case, then when you are able to pay for these games in the first place, then you will be able to access everything within the game. And we think that is what matters in the accessibility, because there are other games, if you have limited budget, that you can go for. And even so, we think the price markup won't be that significant, because we have already proven to you how we can maintain enjoyment. And if there is no further and further payment, then of course there will be more players, right? And therefore, with these new players, there will be more incentive for the companies to keep the prices low, so that there will be as many players as possible. So we don't think the price hike up will be that significant. Thirdly is about escapism, and how escapism can only happen if these players can play without having to think about the different classes, about having to worry about the money, and that is the only way we think that these players can actually experience the enjoyment and escapism, and we think it is exclusive to our side only. Lastly is about customizability, where the negative side argues that customizability is so important. They mentioned trauma without even explaining what it means and why customizability is so important to the trauma of these players. But panels, we say that the customizability in our case is actually better, because we have already explained to you the incentive for these companies to create better and better games, because there will be better mechanics and updates from all the players who will be able to access all contents, because of the more feedback they will get, and more players means more incentive for them to make their game better. And so these extensions will be accessible for everyone. And on the negative side case, even if there will be more updates, but this will be limited to those who are rich, who are able to buy for it. So even if it is customizable, then maybe those who need it most, as they said, those have certain traumas who need these contents or something, I don't know. But then maybe they won't have the budget to actually access this. So it will be pointless in the first place. For those reasons, we take it.
I thank the affirmative reply for that fine speech. And now that concluded our debate for this round. I invite both sides, affirmative and also negative, to cross bench, and inviting my trainee. Let's go to the Discord room for this room to discuss. Thank you so much, everyone. Please wait 10 to 15 minutes for the OA.